Welcome. My name is Nicholas Mutinda from Nairobi branch. I will be continuing with where we left. We discussed in the first video about the three types of management styles. So we are going to continue with the fourth one, fifth, and sixth one. So we are going to discuss the last three management styles. Now, to start with, we are going to start with what we call balanced scorecard. Balanced scorecard. Balanced scorecard. And when we are talking about balanced scorecard, there are two things. There is a scorecard and balance. So we are looking at the business in totality, but we are balancing. There are several aspects. Now you can evaluate how a business is performing. So when I talk about scorecard, we simply mean that we are looking at the performance of the organization. But there are four aspects. That's why we are calling about balanced. How do we balance these aspects to ensure that the business is growing in all aspects? Now, in a nutshell, balanced scorecard is a strategic planning and management system that is used extensively in all manner of organizations worldwide to align business activities to the vision and strategy of the organization. It's a business framework used for tracking and managing an organizational strategy. So there is strategy, but then this activity, our business activities, are they connected to the business strategy? And when you're talking about the aspects of balanced scorecard, we are simply talking about four aspects, what we call drivers and outcomes. And the four aspects of the balanced scorecard are what we call customer focus, financial objective, financial goal, business processes, and then lastly, we have people growth. So, when you are talking about a balanced scorecard, is the business doing well in the four aspects? Is it doing well in customer focus? How is it performing in the financial goal? How is it performing in business processes? How are we talking about, when you're talking about people, we are simply talking about employees. Are the employees moving forward? Are they progressing? Are they progressing? Because a business can only grow when it is looking at the customer focus, when it is satisfying its customers, when it is achieving financial goals, probably profits for the shareholders, when these business processes are progressing, there is efficiency, and when the employees are also progressing, employees in terms of what their returns, in terms of development and growth, all those things. So when we are talking about the balanced scorecard, we simply mean that a business should always grow in all the aspects. And these aspects are connected to the strategy of the organization. There is no way, if a business is generating much profit, is generating more and more profits, but its employees are not progressing, that business is not doing well. If the employees are doing well, but the business is not increasing its profit, then that business is not progressing. It can't be said to be doing well. It can't be said to be growing. If a business focuses on customers, that customers are satisfied, but the employees are not satisfied, the processes are not efficient, then definitely there is a problem in that business. That's why we are talking about a balanced scorecard. A balanced scorecard. Now, a balanced scorecard is a framework based on the balance between leading and lagging indicators. Leading and lagging indicators. And the indicators are the customer focus, financial goals, business focus. Now, when used in the balanced scorecard framework, these key indicators tell whether or not the organization is accomplishing its goals and whether it is on the right track to accomplish future goals. All these indicators tell us whether the organization is achieving its objective. Now, probably you can illustrate with a diagram. This is a strategy. This is a financial. Business processes. So, as you can see, at the center is the strategy. And the strategy of the organization should always be based on those four. That the employees that are working for the organization are progressing. When you talk about business processes, by employees progressing, it means that they will be motivated and they will be focused on the customer focus. Now, the customer focus depends on employee learning and also depends on the financial. The financial depends on the business processes and the customer focus. They all depend on each other. But and progress in one of them cannot be regarded to be a business progress, cannot be regarded to be an organization progress. An organization should always progress in all aspects. When you are talking about employee performance, when you are talking about department performance, when you are talking about the organization performance, when you are talking about a branch performance, it should be measured in the four indicators. The strategy of the business should always be focused on the four indicators. The way you are talking about financial, where the profit comes in, you should also be able to look at the welfare of your employees. The way you are talking about customer focus, you should be able to look at the business processes. Because all of the 4 indicators work in tandem to ensure that the organization is progressing as expected. That's why it is called a balanced scorecard. Now, organizations that are doing well in the business world will most likely find that they are employing this strategy, because it not only enables the organization to focus on the right drivers of progress, but also ensures that the organization is able to produce, to progress in its customers, in its processes. Now, tell me a business that does not have a business process. Tell me a business that does not have a customer, does not have customers. Tell me a business that does not have an aim of financials. Show me a business that does not have employees. When employees are well motivated, they can take care of your customers. When they take care of your customers, definitely financials, where your profit will increase. When your employees are well trained and there is growth, definitely they will improve the business processes. When there is an improvement in the business processes, it leads to customer, it improves efficiency, and therefore leads to customer, to financial goals. So it is a balance. It is a one thing that depends on the others. Now, another thing we can talk about financial. We can talk about balance scorecard is that this map, its main purpose is to improve internal, external, and external communication. Number 2 is to monitor organizations' performance against strategic goals. To monitor organizations' performance against strategic goals. Now, the learning and growth perspective focuses on employee training that leads to cultural change. This one. The customer's perspective, where the organization focuses on continuously learning customers' wants and needs, so as to come up with products and services that satisfy their needs. The business process perspective is where managers aspire to continuously improve the internal business process. This helps guarantee efficiency and quality products. This one, we have talked about that. Then lastly is the financial perspective. This studies the dynamics surrounding finances more as regarding to risk assessment and cost, benefits and financing actions. The scorecard helps track financing results. Now, balanced scorecard has been proven to be applicable in all industries. For profit, non-profit, government, healthcare, and more so organizations of all sizes. We have talked about that. Balanced scorecard applies in all organizations. So why use balanced scorecard as an approach, as a management style? To execute the strategic plan, aligning the company's efforts and decisions with the strategy. Why should we use a balanced scorecard? In order to execute the strategic plan, aligning the company's efforts and decisions with the strategy. Number 2, to communicate the strategy across the organization, such as the strategy map. Number 3, to track performance. Anyone in the organization should be be addressed, should be evaluated based on the four aspects. All the employees in the organization should be evaluated based on those four aspects. Have they contributed to financial goals of the organization? Have they contributed to customer focus? Have they grown? Have they enhanced their skills? And then to link individuals to the strategy showing where they contribute to the organizational goals. Showing to link individuals to the strategy showing how they contribute to the organizational goals. Now, I think that is all we can say about balanced scorecard. That is all we can say about balanced scorecard. Balanced scorecard. So we can move to the fifth management style, 5.5. When you are talking about 5.5, you are talking about use of consultants. Use of consultants. Use of consultants. And to start with, who is a consultant? Who is a consultant? A consultant is a professional who provides expert knowledge in a particular area of management. Somebody who provides expert knowledge in a particular area of management, whether HR, accountancy, marketing, or security. Now, why should we use consultants? Why should we use consultants? Why is it important for us to use consultants? We use consultants whereby you require independence. For instance, when you are talking about, let's say there is redundancy in the organization, and probably you will want an independent opinion whereby the process will not be viewed as biased. So when you get an expert opinion, or you get a consultant, you can be able to get an independent-minded opinion whereby the employees will not view the technology as biased. I'm getting tense. We have internal and external consultants. Internal consultants operate within the organization, while external consultants are sourced from outside the organization. External consultants are sourced outside the organization. External consultants are outsourced from outside the organization, whose expert is provided on a temporary basis at a small fee. When you are talking about you source consultants from outside, you must pay them. You must pay them. You must pay them. And remember, we have said that they always come when internal capacity is not, you don't have internal consultants who can be able to undertake the particular exercise, or when independence or objectivity is required, or when there is a directive probably from the government. And when you're talking about from the government, you might find that we need to maybe to do auditing, and then you find that auditing has to be done from outside in order for the process to have confidence. Now, Organizational consultants, like other management consultants, provide independence and objective advice to the organizations to define and achieve their goals. Now, what is it that consultants can bring to the organization? Number one, consultants restructure the organization. Consultants help to restructure the organization because when they come, remember, they are bringing a fresh knowledge. They are bringing a fresh perspective. They help restructure the organization. Many organizations, you find that probably, look at, for instance, Cooperative Bank. They contracted a consultant who advised them, and they have been doing marvelous since when they got that expert knowledge. They restructured the organization. And when you use consultants to restructure the organization, you find that since these are experts who provide professional advice, they come scan the environment. They look at the scientific, they look at the statistics of the organization. They scan the environment, and then they come up with a professional advice based on the knowledge, based on the information they got from the organization. And you find that they are able to advise the organization on how to improve on its performance, restructuring the organization. Number two is that consultants identify and analyze management problems. Consultants identify and analyze management problems. Does that organization has a problem? What is ailing that organization? What are the possible solutions to those problems? They advise and they come up with solutions on the best way possible to solve those problems. Another thing is that consultants bring knowledgeable and required skills. This way, you find that probably they can come and you get second-hand employees from where the employees of the organization can do understudy, can acquire special skills from the consultants. And you find by using consultants, the organization is able to progress, is able to develop, is able to grow exponentially. Another thing is that consultants avoid extensive training of employees. Now, when we say avoid extensive training of employees, we simply mean that for you to train employees to the level of the consultants, to the level of knowledge of consultants, you will require much. So, since it is more costly to train those employees, why not bring consultants, restructure the organization, advise you accordingly, come up with possible solutions, and then you pay them a small fee and then they leave. Instead of training employees, training, yet you can get that at a cheaper rate where you pay just a small token. Reasons why businesses use consultants. Why do businesses require the services of consultants? To obtain specific expertise and supplement internal staff. Reasons why businesses use consultants. Number one, to obtain specific expertise that supplement internal staff. So when you are getting expertise from outside, they come and bring Remember, they can share special skills, we have said. Number 2, identify problems clearly and from a different perspective. There are things that your employees have been coming to the office daily. There are things that they have never looked in a certain perspective. But then you find that when an expert, an outsider comes, a consultant comes, he can be able to diagnose the problem in a different view that has never been imagined by your employees. So, by bringing consultants, you are able to identify problems clearly from a different perspective. Number 3 is to enable change. That thing we have discussed about. To plan for launch and expectations of operations. To teach employees new skills. That one we have talked about. And then to create new businesses. Remember, when organizations want to expand, when organizations want to venture in new businesses, they always seek for expert opinion. And based on that expert opinion, they can be able to expand. They can be able to create new businesses because they have been advised by professionals who are well experienced, who are well knowledgeable in advising business organizations. What are the advantages of use of consultants? What are the advantages of use of consultants? They help to bring new perspective to the table. Advantage number 1, they help to bring new perspective to the table. Number 2, they bring expertise. They bring expertise to the business organization. They bring expertise to the business organization. Number 3 is that they bring neutrality and objectivity. Remember when we were talking about redundancy, you bring objectivity in the business. You bring a new independent-minded solution. Then number 4 is in order to it minimizes costs. Remember, we have talked about training employees to the level of consultants. You may not be able to train your employees to that. So by just bringing consultants, the consultants can be able to do what is required at a minimum cost as compared to training employees up to that level. What are the disadvantages of use of consultants? It's very expensive. It is very expensive. Number 2, the availability may be limited. The availability may be limited. Uncertainty, number 3, uncertainty. Consultants don't come with guarantees. Some consultants may not guarantee you that you are paid them, the options that they have given you, they may not guarantee that is the best option. And the 4th one, which is a very crucial point, is that lacks continuity since they come and go. And that is a very valid point, because experts come, they look at the business organization, they diagnose the problem, they give you the solution, probably they work with you for probably 2 months, and then they leave. There is no continuity. Probably after they leave, the other guys might get stranded because there is no continuity as far as when you are as compared to when we are training your employees. Now, guidance not to engage consultants. They should specify the following among others: the purpose of the assignment. When you are talking about you are bringing consultants to your organization, ensure that the purpose of the assignment is clear and well defined, and there should be a justification why you should use consultants. There should be a justification of on why you should use consultants. Number 2, the immediate and long-term outputs and benefits. There should be clear long-term outputs and benefits. They should be clearly written. We are paying you this. What are we expecting in back? What are the benefits are we likely to get? Clear long-term output and benefits. Another one is the expected cost of the consultants' performance review arrangements. How are we going to measure your work? How are you going to measure your work, the performance review? How the results of the external consultants will be implemented and monitored. How will they be implemented? How will they be implemented? And those other things about transfer of knowledge, transfer of skills, and so forth and so forth. Now, I think that is all about use of consultants. So we go to 5.6. 5.6, which is creativity. Creativity. Enhancement techniques. Creativity enhancement techniques. So when you are talking about creativity enhancement techniques, we are simply saying the style involving the use of original. That's why you find, for instance, Mercedes-Benz has been around for several years, but this quality has never been duplicated because of originality and creativity. Look at the products that come probably from Germany, you'll find that their creativity is at an higher level. It is very difficult for them to duplicate because there is originality. Because there is originality, imagination. This is a style involving producing something that is original and wild, while characterized by originality, expressiveness, and imagination. It is the ability to transcend ideas, roles, patterns, relationships, and create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretations. Are your employees able? Is the business able? And you find, you look at the organizations, especially those in the technology business, you will find them, they are creative every now and then. They are bringing up new products. They are bringing original products. And that can be, and you find that that is a management style. There are organizations that employ creativity. By using them, you may not be able. By using those creativity, the organization will always be progressing because it is ahead of the pack as regards to those other to its competitors. There is an originality. Now, there is a Mercedes-Benz. I've talked about Mercedes-Benz. There is this Chapa Mandazi baking powder. Baking powder. Chapa Mandazi baking powder. This has been around for several years. There's another bread, Broadway's. Broadway's has consistently maintain its standards. Broadway's bread. And you find that it has not changed because of the originality. All the others have come up with the paper that was packaged 40 years ago. It is still packaged in the same paper. It has maintained its originality. It has not changed. And those are what we are calling what? Creativity. Now, what are the features of creativity? There is a positive attitude, strong motivation, fearlessness. Techniques that enhance creativity. Creative problem solving that could involve many individuals. Another thing is lateral thinking process. Lateral thinking process, brainstorming. You bring your employees together and you brainstorm. What do you think about this? What are your ideas? You brainstorm with your employees, writing. You bring employees together and then you can be able to brainstorm. Another thing is about thinking out of the box. Thinking out of the box. And then lastly is what we call SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis. So what are the advantages of creativity? It gives freedom to everyone. Nobody is right, nobody is wrong. Everyone is given an equal opportunity for him to come up with his ideas, to innovate, to bring up new ideas, to bring up new methods of doing things, to bring up new ways of doing the things that you have been. So you find that there is a freedom to everyone. Another one, it promotes self-awareness and expression. It enables employees to express themselves, to bring up new ideas. Faith and confidence in our instincts. When an employee has some idea, he can be able to bring it because he knows that he will not be victimized. Stress relief. Being creative is meditative. So you are able to release stress. Because when you meditate, you release stress. It helps in problem solving. Creates staff morale. Employees are more motivated when they are given an opportunity. Employees are motivated when they are given an opportunity to express their ideas, to express themselves. These advantages, the more ideas one has, the difficult to identify the best. Yes, that is true. Because you find that when people are coming up with ideas, it becomes much more difficult to identify which is of all these ideas is the most appropriate, is the most applicable in the situation. Many ideas may bring ideas competing against one another may bring loss of focus. Yes, you might find that if you are not careful, because of the many ideas that are coming up, you might be able to lose focus. Now, I think that is the end of chapter 5. That is the end of chapter 5. And we will end there. And before we end, kindly I want to remind you, kindly subscribe to my channel. It's free of charge. You just click the subscription button there below the video. Thank you for watching.